have a roller, we're going to start on the roller this morning if you would like to. If you don't have a roller or it's not your preference, then you can just lie down on your back on the mat. If you're using the roller, be sure you sit close to the end and then lay yourself back so that both the tailbone and the back of the head are supported by the roller. Whether you're on the mat or on the roller, let's have the knees bent, feet in line with the sit bones. We'll take the arms a little bit wider than the mat and turn the palms up to begin to open the chest. Feel the length at the back of the neck. If your chin is jutting up towards the ceiling, I'd like you to put a small towel or pillow behind your head so you can lengthen the back of the neck and draw the chin down towards the notch of the neck. We're just going to take a few relaxed breaths and let the body drop down into gravity. Doing as little as possible, allowing your body to sink into the support of the floor or feel the form of the roller behind your back. And we're going to work again with the abdominal star with the addition of the imprints of the back ribs. And if you're on the roller, you'll be able to feel why that's going to be particularly useful. Whether you're on the mat or the roller, you will find some space behind your lumbar. If you're on the roller, it's going to be increased a little bit. Please take a moment to picture a big asterisk resting in the front of the belly. The horizontal line reaching down from the sternum to the pubic bone. The vertical line moving across the hip points to meet beneath the belly button, between the pubic bone and the belly button. And then the two diagonal lines reaching from one set of ribs down and around to the opposite hip point, and then the other set of ribs down and around to its opposite hip point. Picture all of those four lines and see where they intersect at the point beneath the navel. Take an inhale, picturing that asterisk. And as you exhale, imagine shrinking all of the points down towards that low center. So you've got four lines, there's 8 points all moving inwards towards the center. And then relax. And do nothing, let yourself give into gravity again. And then with the inhale, picture the asterisk. And with the exhale, shrink it down towards that low center, all 8 points moving towards the center. And relax with the inhale. And do nothing with the exhale. Let's do that one more time. As you inhale, picture the asterisk. And as you exhale, shrink it. This time, keep it shrinking down as you take your inhale. You'll feel a little difference in the way you need to take the breath. It'll have to go higher in the chest. And then re-shrink with that exhale. And then relax. We'll bring the arms in a little closer to the sides and do the arm lifts. As you inhale, bring your arms straight up towards the ceiling. And as you exhale, shrink your star and take your arms back towards the floor behind you. Shrinking the star, stabilizing the lower back and the pelvis. And then inhale, take the arms up towards the ceiling. And exhale, bring them back down to the sides and let everything relax. Do that again. Inhale and take the arms straight up to vertical. And exhale, shrink the star to stabilize neutral pelvis, neutral spine. bring the arms straight up towards the ceiling. And then exhale, lower the arms back down to the sides and relax all of the effort. Once again, inhale, arms float up. And exhale, shrink the star, take the arms back. So I'd like you to stay there and inhale and notice how your ribs are pulling up. As you exhale, keep your arms back and knit those ribs down. So you're trying to bring the back ribs down to the mat or the center of the back ribs down to the roller. Still have your neutral lower back curve. Inhale, bring the arms up to vertical. And exhale, lower the arms down. And this time, we'll do the same arm movement, but engage those internal obliques as we go back. Inhale, bring the arms up towards the ceiling. Exhale, shrink the star and imprint the back ribs so that your rib cage doesn't pull away from the mat or the roller. Take your arms back and just check it. Stay as you inhale. Try not to let your ribs flare up. Renew as you exhale, shrinking the star and keeping the back ribs down. And then inhale, bring the arms up towards the ceiling. We're going to go into a head lift. Exhale, maintaining the lower back curve as you raise the head, reaching the hands outside the thighs. Inhale, bring the head down, bring the arms up towards the ceiling. Shrink the star, imprint the ribs, and reach your arms back again. Inhale, arms up towards the ceiling. Shrink the star, imprint the ribs, and exhale into a little head lift, keeping a neutral lower back curve. Inhale, head down, arms up. Once again, shrink the star, imprint the back ribs as you reach back. Inhale, bring the arms up to vertical. Shrink the star, imprint the back ribs as you do a head lift. Stay up as you inhale. And then exhale, reach your arms all the way up and back. Keeping your neutral spine, your ribs imprinting. With your inhale, sweep the arms around and again go to a head lift. And exhale, reach the arms all the way back, keeping shrinking, imprinting, and reach up and around. One more time. Shrink the star, imprint the ribs. And then lower the head. Bring your arms down to rest at your sides, and we'll do some alternate leg lifts. If you're on the roller, you may want your hands on the floor to steady you. Or if you want more challenge, you can float them up off of the floor a couple inches. We're again going to shrink the star to stabilize around the lumbar spine, imprint the back ribs to make sure we have our obliques fully working for us. And then we're going to take the right foot up off of the floor and lower back down. The goal here is to keep the pelvis completely still. Don't flatten the back or allow the pelvis to wobble from side to side. Shrink the star, imprint the back ribs, and lift the left foot up. And lower it back down. Keep the pelvis steady. Again to the right side. And lower down. And to the left. And lower down. Let's do one more with each leg. Now we're going to add an extension of the leg. You can take the arms up to vertical as well. Shrink the star, imprint the ribs, lift the right foot up, and then we'll flex the foot and extend the leg out long. A 45-degree angle, so halfway between the ceiling and the floor. Bend the knee, and re-anchor, lower your foot back down. Shrink the star, imprint the ribs, take the left foot up. Flex the foot, extend the leg, reaching out through your heel. Inhale to bend the knee, and re-anchor as you lower the foot down. Keep the pelvis steady, and bring the right side up. Flex the foot, extend out long, and bend the knee. Re-anchor and lower the foot. Keep shrinking the star, imprinting the ribs, and go to the left side. Reaching out through the heel. Inhale to bend the knee and exhale, lower. One more set. When you're done, if your arms are raised up off the floor, bring them down onto the floor. And if you're on the roller, we'll carefully come off to one side. Put the roller off to the side. And let everybody hug the knees into the chest. Feel the back of the neck lengthen. Lower back gently stretched and rock yourself slowly from side to side on the sacrum. We're going to come into the center and move into a neutral tabletop. So that means we move the knees away from the chest until the lower back is in its natural lumbar curve, and then raise the feet up as high as the knees. Relax the arms down at the sides. Shrink the star, imprint the back ribs, and go into the pistons. Exhale, lower one foot down. Keep those back ribs imprinting. Inhale, lift the foot up. Exhale, take the other foot down, back ribs imprinting. And lift it back up. Exhale to lower, and inhale to lift. Exhale down. Be sure you're shrinking the star and keeping those back ribs imprinted. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift. Do that until you've done it evenly to each side. I'm going to put one hand on each knee and flop the knees out wide. Really relax in the inner thighs and the front thighs. Start rocking the legs around a little bit, and then let that rocking turn into a nice loose circle. Thigh bones easily moving around the hip sockets. And then reverse the circles. And bring the knees in close. Hug the knees in. Feel the flattened lower back and shrink your star in this position. It'll feel a little different because the pubic bone and the navel are already close together, so it's a bit more intensively shrink the star in this position. I'm going to keep the back flat and bring the arms straight up to vertical, and then make a circle in the ceiling with the knees. Rolling around, away, over to the other side, and back into that tuck. And feel your shoulders. Let's keep the shoulders down and still. Keep the back ribs working down towards the floor. Circle one way, pause, and then reverse the circle. Good. Keep your shoulders still. If your hands are moving around, that's a clue that you're moving your shoulders. Again, let's do a couple more times in each direction. I'm going to bring the arms out wide like a T and drop both knees to the left side. You can place your left hand on your right outer thigh and knee and stretch the right arm up to wherever it feels comfortable. And then breathe slowly into the stretch of the right side. And then we'll bring the knees to the center, arms wide, and exhale both knees over to the right side, placing the right hand on the left outer thigh. Adjust the left arm comfortably, and then breathe slowly into the stretch of the left side of the body. And then bring the knees back into the center. Give them a gentle hug in. And then we'll return to a neutral tabletop position in preparation for the 100. Let's bring the arms down to the floor. Take an inhale and picture that abdominal star. Exhale, shrink the star. And then imprint your back ribs as you press your palms and the backs of the arms down into the mat. Then lift the head, extend the legs, externally rotate your legs so your heels are touching, and then we'll pulse 5 times with the exhale and 5 times with the inhale. Shrink the star, arms nice and straight and long, and inhale for 5. Exhale for 5 pulses, chin in towards the chest, and inhale for 5. Exhale, and inhale. Keep picturing the asterisk shrinking down into its low center. Exhale and shrink. Inhale. You're going to find a way to keep shrinking the star. You're going to inhale up into the chest. Exhale for 5 pulses. And inhale. One more time. And then bring the knees into the chest and put the head down. I want you to find your neutral spine. So that means your tailbone is down, your lumbar is in its neutral. We're going to shrink the star and imprint the ribs. And then we're going to try to do some out of sync circles where we simultaneously stabilize the pelvis but make the legs nice and loose in the sockets. So the legs are the passive part of this. We're engaging the core and the arms are moving the legs around. And then try circling the other way. Keeping the legs as passive as you can, loosening in the hip sockets while you steady the pelvis and keep the star shrinking. Okay, and then bring both knees close into the chest. And then let's straighten the left leg all the way out onto the floor and bring the right knee towards the breastbone. Bring the left hand to the front left thigh, and with your right hand or arm, pull your right knee towards your right armpit. Now the back of the pelvis is staying even on the mat, and we're going to bring the knee over towards the other side. Using your left hand, pull your knee up towards your left shoulder. Don't let your hip lift. This is not a spinal twist like we did before. This is just a gentle stretch for the piriformis and the external rotators. Outer hip capsule, pull up towards the left armpit, but keep the back of the pelvis down on the mat. And then release the stretch, bring the leg into the center, line it up with its hip socket, shrink your star and print your back ribs, straighten the right leg up to the ceiling, take your hands behind the back of the thigh, and then flex the foot and point the toes. Flex the foot back and point the toes, and flex. Point, keep pointing the toes, pull the knee towards the hip socket, shrink the star and print the ribs. And we're going to make a figure 8 with the leg, being really mindful that not only does the pelvis stay still, that's the job of the star, but those back ribs stay down, that's the job of the imprint. Keep tracing the same figure 8, side to side, and then reverse. Good, checking out those back left ribs. Good, then let's bend the knee and pull the knee towards the breastbone. And bring the left knee in to join the right knee. Relax a moment there. And then we'll keep drawing the knees in towards the chest. Shrink the star, feel that intensity between the pubic bone and the navel. And straighten the right leg out onto the mat. With both hands, we begin by pulling the left knee towards the breastbone. Then we bring the right hand to the front right thigh, and with the left hand or arm, pull your knee up towards the armpit. Be sure that you don't roll over on the pelvis, so your right hip is going to stay down. Stretching the inner thigh, but keeping the pelvis level in the back. Then bring the knee to the center, switch so that you have your right hand on the left knee, and you'll pull the left knee towards the right shoulder. Again, keeping the back of the pelvis down on the mat. So be sure the left side of the sacrum is still down on the mat. Aiming to feel some stretch in the buttock and outer thigh. It may not be a very strong stretch for you, but keep that pelvis down. Then release that stretch. Center the left leg with its hip socket. Feel your tailbone down, find your neutral spine and shrink the star. Extend the leg up, hold the back of the leg, and point the toes, then flex the foot back. And point, and flex, point, and flex, and point. Keep your toes pointed, pull your left kneecap towards your left hip, shrink the star, imprint the back ribs, and then start to make a figure eight. Actually, an infinity sign is what you're going to feel like you're looking at, because we're going side to side and retracing that infinity sign. Same line over and over again. And then re-shrink the star and reverse the circle, the infinity sign. Keep the right back ribs down, right hip down. And then bring your left knee into chest. And the right side into join. Rock on the sacrum. Let's lift the feet up as high as the knees and come into a neutral tabletop. Shrink the star and print the back ribs. Lower the right foot down, and then the left, and lift the right foot up, and then the left. Now lower the left foot down, and then the right, and lift the left foot up, and then the right, and lower the left, keep it down, lower the right, keep it down, and then relax. We're in neutral. We're going to shrink the star, scoop the belly in, imprint the back ribs, and keep that flattened back as we straighten the right leg out. And then the left. Keep flattening the spine and reach all the way up and back with the arms. And then relax and feel how you get a little bit more space between your spine and the back. Now we're going to shrink the star and imprint the ribs gently just to come to neutral, not to flat, and walk the feet a little to the left. Tilt the upper body to the left, and take your right ankle over the left. Grab a hold of the right wrist, and stretching the right side, keep your right hip down, your right back ribs down. Put your breath into the right side. And then let's come to the center. Release and stretch long again. And go ahead and let the spine go into that little added arch position. And then let's shrink the star and imprint the ribs just to get back to a neutral. walk the feet a little to the right and slide the upper body to the right. Take the left ankle over the right and hold the left wrist. Keeping your left hip and left back ribs down, breathe slowly. And return to the center and take that added arch as you inhale. And then we're going to flatten the spine down. Keep it flat and float the arms up. Keep it flat, slide the right heel in, and then the left. And then relax into neutral. And we'll get a small ball or a folded pillow or blanket between the knees. We begin with the knees, the ball between the knees in a neutral spine. Arms relaxed. We'll shrink the star and print the back ribs and then squeeze the knees into the ball, keeping your neutral position. And then relax the squeeze very slowly. So you're going to release it twice as slowly as you engaged it and keep your star shrinking, back ribs imprinting. Let's do it again. Shrink the star imprint and press into the ball, keeping your neutral spine. And then release in slow motion, keeping the star shrinking, the back ribs imprinting as you release that press. One more time like that, shrink the star imprint and squeeze into the ball. And then in slow motion, release the squeeze. Keep the abdominal engagement until you're all the way done releasing the squeeze. And then you can relax. If you have something behind your head, now you should take it out. We're going to work with a pelvic lift. The beginning is the same as what we just did. We're shrinking the star, maintaining the neutral, imprinting and squeezing the knees into the ball. Then I'd like you to please tilt your pelvis until your lower back is flat. We're still squeezing into the ball and engaging the star, and then raise your hips up off of the floor. Keep shrinking the star, keep squeezing on the ball. Feel the length coming at the back of the neck. Feel the stretch at the front thighs. Shrink the star, keep imprinting, keep pressing into the ball and lower yourself down one vertebra at a time. Feel that scoop until you get to the flat back and pause there. The star is shrinking, the back ribs imprinting, you're squeezing the ball. And then release the pelvic tilt. And then the squeeze on the ball. And last of all, the abdominal work. Back into neutral. Shrink the star and imprint in neutral. Stay neutral as you squeeze on the ball. Tilt the pelvis. And then raise into the pelvic lift. Keep shrinking the star, tilting the pelvis, squeezing the ball, and come down. Come to a flat back. You're still squeezing the ball. And keep your star shrinking, release the pelvic tilt. Keep shrinking the star, release the squeeze on the ball. And then relax the abdominal work. One more time. Shrink the star in neutral, imprint the back ribs and squeeze the ball. Tilt the pelvis. Keep squeezing the ball as you raise the hips up. Shrinking the star. Keep tilting the pelvis and come back down, imprinting the ribs. You'll really feel them into the mat. Keep shrinking the star. Keep tilting the pelvis. Come to a flat back. And then release. Relax the squeeze of the ball. And then last of all, relax the abdominals. Once again, shrink the star and print, keeping your neutral spine. Lift up and take a hold of the ball. We're going to hold the ball into the hands now. Ball above the breastbone, dropping the shoulders. Relax for a moment. Make sure you feel the humeral heads dropping down into the shoulder joints. Take an inhale, preparing again for the star. Exhale, shrink the star, imprint. Tilt the pelvis again, and then straighten your left leg out with your lower back staying flat, and straighten the right leg out with your lower back staying flat. Keep imprinting the ribs, shrink the star, and reach your arms back towards the wall behind you. We're going to go into roll-ups, keeping the back flat. Float the arms up, and as you inhale, roll up. Sit tall, and then bend yourself forward, relaxing the neck and shoulders. Stretching the lower back, relaxing the upper back and the neck. And sit tall, holding the ball in front of the breastbone. Shrink the star. Scoop the tail between the legs, belly button into spine, and begin rolling down. One vertebra at a time, keeping that star shrinking. You're aiming to imprint those back ribs as soon as you get to that point of the roll down, and keep them imprinting as you move down. Keep your back flattening as you stretch the arms out behind you. And then let it go. Feel that increased arch in the lower back. And then reset, shrink the star, imprint the back ribs, scooping the spine, and use your inhale to roll up. Feet stay on the floor, keep dropping the shoulders, sit tall, and then lean down into a stretch. Aim to stretch the lower back, relax the neck. Think of your breastbone reaching towards the toes, the crown of the head towards the feet. And sit tall, hold the ball in front of the breastbone again. Shrink the star, scoop the belly in, keeping the shoulders relaxed. Roll yourself down slowly. You're already doing the action for the rib imprint so that when they touch the mat, they're already imprinting. Belly scooping in, scooping in, scooping in. Back stays flat as you reach the arms behind you. And then relax. Let's do it one more time. Shrink the star, imprint the ribs, scoop the belly. Use your inhale to roll up. And sit tall. And easy stretch forward. Try not to collapse the front of the body. Keep the chest opening away from the belly. We don't want to hump the upper back. Just concentrate on stretching the lower back. And sit tall. Hold the ball in front of the breastbone. Shrink the star. Scoop the belly in. And roll down. As though you're imprinting the ribs so that as soon as the back ribs get down to the mat, you're already imprinting. You're scooping your belly and flattening your lower back, staying imprinted. And reach long. And then relax that effort. Big long stretch. And then let's just put the ball off to the side and hug the knees into the chest. If you like, you can rock from side to side. And then we're going to turn over onto the stomach. And place the hands underneath the forehead to begin. Relax the legs. Feel the front of the body lengthening. You may also feel a little compression in the lower back because this is a small lumbar extension here. So I want you to feel what happens when we engage the star. Take an inhale, picturing the asterisk. Exhale, shrink the star down. And maybe you feel a little bit decompression in your lower back. Keep the star shrinking. That's going to have your ribs gliding together. Press down in through the elbows and raise the chest and head up. Opening the chest without overly compressing the lower back. And then lower the forehead back down. And relax. And shrink the star. Press down gently through the elbows and raise the chest and head. And then release back down. And relax. Once again, shrink the star and raise the chest and head. And then relax. Now we're going to go to a cactus position, taking the arms at a right angle with the fingertips pointing straight in front of you. Turn your head to one side, legs comfortably separated. We'll shrink the star, keeping the elbows down on the mat, raise the chest and head, and turn the head into the center. And then lower yourself down, turn the head the other way. Take an inhale here. Exhale and shrink the star, and raise your chest and head. Turning the head into the center. Stay up and take an inhale, bringing the breastbone farther away from the navel. And then exhale, lower down, turn the head the other direction. And relax a moment. Exhale, shrink the star. And lift the chest and head to the center. Stay while you inhale. And exhale, shrink the star and turn the head the other way. And relax at the inhale. One more time, shrink the star and exhale to lift. And stay while you inhale. And this time, exhale, lower down, head into the center. You're going to tuck your chin so you've got your forehead on the floor, and then bring your arms down to your sides with the palms facing up. Bring the legs close together. Shrink the star, and with your exhale, lift everything up. Head, arms, chest, and legs lift up, and then lower back down. Again, shrink the star and lift everything up. Raising the chest higher than the legs, but think of your thighs lifting. And then lower down. Once again, shrink the star and lift. Stay up here, shrink the star even more. We'll do the jumping jack. Take the arms and legs wide. And shrink the star as you bring the arms and legs down. If it's too much for the upper body, put your hands underneath your forehead. Exhale to close. One more time. Inhale to open. And exhale to close. And then lower down. And relax completely. We're going to bring the arms all the way forward. Separate the legs a little bit. And make the legs as passive as possible. See if you can completely relax the buttocks and the legs. And then without tightening the buttocks, shrink the star. And keep the legs as passive as you can as you raise your chest and head up. Elbows are going to stay down. Working in the upper back now. Keeping the legs relaxed, the buttocks relaxed. And lower down. We want to shrink the star but not squeeze the buttocks, and lift up. Think of drawing the shoulder blades down the back. And then release. One more time, shrink the star and lift the chest and head. And release. Okay, let's move into a child's pose. Bring the hips back to the heels. Do any version of the child's pose you like. You can stretch the arms out or bring them down by your sides. Knees can be wide if you like. We're going to move on to the left side. Stretching out long on the left side. Let everything relax for a moment. Feel as you relax how the abdominal muscles are slack and the internal organs are sinking down. I'd like you to shrink your star. And then think specifically of lifting your internal organs up towards your top waist with that star shrinking. And then raise both legs up off of the floor and lower them back down. Keep shrinking the star and lift both legs up and lower back down. And lift. And lower, and lift, and lower. Keep shrinking the star. Last time, both legs are up. Then bring just the bottom leg down and lift it back up. Keep shrinking the star. Lower, and lift, and lower, lift, lower, and lift. Squeeze both legs together. Keep shrinking the star. And we'll bring one leg forward, one leg back, and switch. And again, scissor, and switch, scissor, and switch. 2 more each direction. And then we come to the center. Inner thighs are squeezed together. Shrink the star again, raise the top leg and circle it 5 times around. And reverse for 5. Legs together, external rotation so your heels are touching, and raise the top leg up, lower the bottom leg down. And lift wide scissors in external rotation. Keep shrinking the star. Be careful that your right hip doesn't fall behind you. And with still external rotation, we'll do 10 little pulses of the legs here. And then squeeze the thighs, come to parallel, flex your feet back and squeeze your toes. Point the feet, fan the toes and flex back. Squeeze, point, fan, flex, squeeze, point, fan and flex. Keep the toes wide as you reach out and then squeeze the toes and pull back. Open the toes, reach, squeeze and pull back. One more time. And release. Let everything relax a moment. Keep your thighs where they are. Bend at the knees. Nice straight line across the front of the hips. Shrink the star. And roll the top leg out in the socket 10 times. Keep the right hip forward the whole time. Relax, and we're going to bend the knees to 90 degrees, the feet and the knees both at the front of the mat. Feel your right hip and draw it forward so that the knees are stacked, one right on top of the other. Shrink your star, and then roll the leg out in the socket. 10 times extra rotation. Star is shrinking, right hip is forward. And when you're done with that, relax. We'll move to the position halfway between, 45-degree hip flexion. Again, make sure that the right hip is forward so that the knees are stacked. Shrink the star, and we'll roll the leg out in the socket 10 times here. Relax. Bring your left knee forward and then push yourself up into a mermaid sit. Center the spine, lengthen up through the crown. Drop your right sit bone down. It's not going to touch, but reach in the direction of the floor. Right hand on the right foot and reach up with your left arm and then bend towards the right side. Feel opening in the left side. And then sit tall. Bring the left hand down and slide it away till the forearm's down. Reach your right hip down towards the mat and then stretch up with your right arm and reach the right wrist and the right sit bone away from each other to stretch the right side. Turn your head up and spiral your breastbone towards the ceiling. And then sit up tall. And we'll pivot so that the feet are towards the bottom of the mat. Bring the arms out in front of you. Scoop the belly. Roll down to the sacrum. Shrink your star. Roll down to your back ribs. Keep shrinking the star. Feel that imprint. And then roll the rest of the way down. Stretch out long. And then turn onto your right side. Relax a moment here. Feel the softness in the belly. And shrink your star. Think of lifting your internal organs up towards the ceiling. And lift both legs up. And lower back down. Keep the star shrinking, lift, and lower. Both legs moving together. 2 more times. On this last one, we'll keep both legs up and then lower just the bottom leg down and lift back up and lower down. Instead of thinking of your toes trying to come together, think of your inner thighs trying to come together. Then we'll squeeze the inner thighs, shrink the star, and do scissors forward and back. When we come to the center, shrink the star, lift the top leg a little higher and circle it 5 times each direction. And then we'll bring the legs together and externally rotate so the heels are touching. And then big scissors to the side, keeping external rotation as you lift the top leg up, the bottom leg can tap down, both legs are externally rotated. Keep the left hip forward. At the last one, we'll stay externally rotated, let the heels touch, and then tap them together 10 times. And then move into parallel and flex the feet back. And then squeeze the toes and point the feet, fan the toes, and flex the feet back. Squeeze, point, fan, flex, squeeze, point, fan, flex. Your toes are open and reach out, and squeeze the toes and pull back. Open the toes and reach. Squeeze and pull back 1 more time. And then lower both legs down. Keep your thighs where they are, bend the knees, shrink your star, and with your left hip staying forward, roll the leg out of the socket 10 times. When you're done, relax the work in the belly. We're going to bend the knees to 90 degrees, the hips to 90 degrees, knees and feet at the front of the mat. Line up your knees. You can tilt your left hip forward until your left knee is directly on top of the right, and then around that position, shrink the star and roll the leg out of the socket 10 times here, keeping the left hip forward. Use the star to stabilize the pelvis. When you're done, relax the abdominal work and open the hips a bit. so that the knees are at the front of the mat, the feet are underneath you. Again, want to tilt the pelvis forward so that the left knee is directly on top of the right. Shrink the star and roll the leg out in the socket 10 more times. When you're done, relax the abdominal work. We'll just place the right knee forward and push up into a remain sit. Sit tall through the spine. Left hand on the left foot. Reach up through the right hand and then bend to stretch the right side. And then sit tall. Right hand down to the floor. I'm going to slide the hand away and get the elbow down. Think of your left hip sinking down. And then reach up and over with your left arm. Left sit bone reaching towards the floor as your arm goes up and over. Then turn and look up. Spiral the breastbone towards the ceiling and breathe into the side bend here. Keep reaching your left sit bone down. And then we'll sit up, bring the knees in front of you, and take a gentle forward bend. Now we're going to go through the abdominal series. If you have the roller and want to use it, you can lie down on the roller the same way that we started the class. If you don't want to use your roller, you can just lie down on the mat in constructive rest pose. When you do the abdominal series on the roller, you keep your hands down on the floor throughout. So everybody find your neutral spine and shrink the star. So that means if you're on the roller, you're going to need to imprint the back ribs a little bit so you're not in an extension. And we're going to lift one foot up and then the other. On the roller, please, hands stay on the floor. If you're on the mat, bring both of your hands to one knee. We'll lift the head and go into the single leg stretch and extend one leg and alternate. If you have the hands, both hands are going to the bent knee. Keep shrinking the star. If you're on the roller, be mindful of those back ribs. Everybody nicely track the leg so that the foot stays in line with the sit bone the whole time. Let's take a little break. And then reset the neutral, shrink the star, double leg stretch, lift the head. If you're on the mat, one hand on each knee. Exhale, both legs reach away. And inhale, the knees bend, stay neutral. If you're on the mat, exhale, your arms reach behind you as your legs stretch out. And your inhale, circle the arms around to meet the knees. Exhale, push away with the legs. Inhale, come back in. Neutral spine, keep those back ribs down. Exhale, push, reach the arms back if you're on the mat. One more time. And then with the knees bent into the chest, take a little break. And reset the neutral. Shrink the star. Raise the head. Single straight leg, one leg up, one leg down. If you're on the mat, you can place your hands on the back of your up leg. Keep shrinking the star. Chin into the chest. And again, let's take a break. If you're on the roller and it's getting too much, of course, come down and just do it on the mat. Only one more for the roller. Shrink the star. Stabilize your neutral. Lift the head. And take the legs up to the ceiling. If you're on the mat, you can take your hands behind your head. Keep your ribs imprinting as you lower the legs and come back up. Neutral spine. Good. No flattening the back, no arching the back. Maintain your neutral. And then take a little break. If you're on the roller, carefully come off. And we'll prepare for the crisscross. Hands come behind the head. We'll find a neutral tabletop. Shrink the star, lift the head and begin to bicycle. And reach the armpit across towards the bending knee, keeping the chest wide open. Pelvis is stabilized, shrinking the star. And then bring the knees into the chest, put the head down, and turn your head slowly from side to side. I'm going to show you a couple stretches using the roller or alternately using a small ball. First I'll show you with the ball. You could use a tennis ball or a lacrosse ball, or this is like a small mini playground ball. Any of those things. We're going to get into the piriformis, the external rotators. If you have the roller, you can sit on the roller. If you have a little ball, you can take and sit on the ball. And whichever method we use, we're going to get in there and give those muscles a massage in the hip. If you have the roller, you can support yourself, shrink the star, tilt your hips over to, or your knees over to one side, and roll in the meat of the buttock. You can also do it with your knees, feet up off the floor. And if you have a ball, you can find a spot and roll, or you can find a spot and like hang out there. And then let's go to the other side. Switch the ball or roll over to the other side on the roller. And massage the other buttock. Then we're going to come to the center. If you have a roller, you're going to sit down on the floor in front of it. If you don't have a roller, you can use a ball, a small playground ball like this. You could even use a folded up blanket. We're going to do a chest opener if you don't have any of those things. But if you have the roller, we're going to recline on it. If you have this ball, recline on it between your shoulder blades. And we'll take the hands behind the head. So you want the roller just beneath your scapulae. We'll shrink the star, lift the hips, and you can give yourself a really nice upper back rub. Moving down no lower than the low ribs and going up as far towards the neck as you like. We want to keep the abdominals working, keep shrinking the star. So same thing, same action if you have a ball, it's between the shoulder blades, you're rolling. And again here, if you find one spot that's a good spot to stay, you can do that. And you can increase it if you want. Keep shrinking your star, but you can drop your hips down and drop the head back to get more chest opening. But do what feels good for your body. Keep your neck safe. If you're in this little chest opener, you're going to shrink the star, then lift your head. And then everybody, we're going to come up. So there's a certain amount you can do with your abdominals. And then you're going to need the help of your arms. You can bring yourself up into a seated position. And then sit tall with your hands against your shins and open the breastbone. And then easy drop of the forehead down towards the knees. Relax the back. And again, lift and open the chest. and drop down. Forehead towards the knees, soft shoulders. And one more time. Lift and open the chest. And drop down into that easy forward bend. Make sure you really soften the shoulders. And then sit tall. And that's where we'll end. Right, thanks for being here. I don't know what's exactly going to happen in the next 2 weeks. I have to travel, and I've got 2 different memorial services out of town the next 2 weekends. So I may or may not be here remotely on the 7th and the 14th. The 21st, we will be back in person in Compton Hall. So I'll see you in person then. Stay tuned for the next 2 weeks, and of course you can watch. There are plenty of classes from the last many months, so I hope that you'll stay with the class even if I don't do a live broadcast. All right, sign in, let me know you're here, and thanks. Have a great day. Bye.